our energy crisis. It's one of the biggest challenges to have hit South Africa in post-1994, and he'll need to strike the right chord to issue a directive not only to his ministers but also to the utilities. Fred Razak is a chief trading strategist at CMTrading. It is probably the president's most important State of the Nation address. We say that every year, but in order to address an energy crisis, he really is going to have to hit the correct tone in issuing marching orders to have our energy crisis and our electricity grid back on track. Fred?
Hi.
Fred, tell me what you're expecting the president to say when it comes to issues around Eskom and the energy grid, our energy crisis.
Well, I mean, there's going to be one or two options, really. I mean, either he's going to find you a solution or he's going to buy you time. And until they figure out exactly through the red tape of how to implement this. This is probably one of the most saddest story in modern day history. I mean, not the saddest story. It's not catastrophic as a drought or something that's a war, but this is something that is just negligence, and negligence to everybody's detriment in South Africa. I visited South Africa about 6 months ago, and I've never understood that this was the case in South Africa, that this was such a emergency for this to be taken care of as soon as possible and almost by any means, in my humble opinion. I would, I know there's a lot of talk about alternative energy and, that's all fine and dandy, but when you have a country that might not exist in 10 years from now the way it exists today because it doesn't have energy today, it's something that it's an emergency.
So you describe South Africa with a doomsday clock hanging over it. We often talk about doomsday clock in relation to geopolitics and nuclear fallout. Very much what we often talk about when we talk about Russia, Ukraine, and NATO. But you're saying that there is a doomsday clock, a South Africa that is running out of time if our electricity crisis is not addressed.
Well, I mean, look at the economic impact of it. Okay, let's start with that. Let's start with the fact that you're detracting people from investing in South Africa. Let's take it even further than that. South Africans who have dual citizenships or South Africans who can go and migrate to other countries because of the lack of standards that exist in South Africa, you're losing not only the top percentages, but you're losing the upper percentages of the people that are living in South Africa. So that is something that the country has to take really seriously because we're seeing migration all over the world right now in very subtle ways. I mean, we saw Syrian refugees kind of migrate into Europe. We've seen, in the United States itself, New York and California are losing citizens to their states, to areas like Texas and Florida. So there's a tremendous migration, and people in today's day and age want a certain standard of living. And not having electricity 24/7 is so detrimental to the country, not just for its, the convenience of it, but for the economic impact of it in all the ripple effects, from the mom and pop store to major corporations. It's not something that's sustainable in the 21st century. It's unheard of, really.
Fred Razak, chief trading strategist at CMTrading from New York, saying that energy, our Eskom crisis, must and probably will be top of mind during the President's State of the Nation.